the law on higher education, which was voted in the parliament. And we received a lot of votes, and less than 300, but practically all factions voted for, except those in whom we are not interested. And this law is very important for the development of education and science in Ukraine. It is a revolutionary law. This law introduces a lot of changes we were waiting for long, and this is the law of reforms. We worked for 3 years to develop this law. All representatives from education and experts and journalists who supported us, we worked together on this. It was not easy during the previous years, and I'm pleased, very pleased. It's extremely important that this law became the law of consensus. We were supported by the society, by the government, and we were supported by the parliament and the president. That's the way education reforms are introduced. And all the countries which went through radical education reforms, mostly countries of the Far East, that's what they say. In order to run reforms, you need support of your society, understanding in the society, because people pay taxes, and a consensus in the government, parliament, president, and there is a consensus. What are the main points in this law? What will change? It is based on the idea of autonomy of universities, a broad autonomy. We understand it as autonomy. Academic, financial, and organizational autonomy. So a university will work on the majority of issues by itself without getting any permission from the Ministry of Education. With this law, we give the law to universities. We give some instruments for them to manage their life, and with their broad rights, also we give a responsibility for the quality. So the first point is autonomy. The second point is new system of quality control, because the main goal of this law is to improve quality and to develop quality Ukrainian universities, and those universities which will be competitive on the global market, and that would hold key positions in global arenas. We don't have such universities, though we have good universities, and there are objective reasons for that. We can speak about reasons, but we give them those instruments, and how we will control quality. We create a new structure, and the National Agency on Quality. There will be quota principle used, and in addition to representatives from the government, from the Ministry of Education, there will be representatives from different universities, private or public universities, and also there will be representatives from students, from National Academy of Sciences, from employers. That will be very important. There will be 4 representatives from employers, because they have to influence on education and they have to control quality. So this agency should be professionally independent. That's a key point. Then we dismiss VAC, and the National Quality Agency will be responsible for licensing and accreditation of universities. And at present, at the same time with this law, we approved in the parliament a new system of licensing and accreditation. Those systems simplify the process. They are more transparent and more understandable. Representatives of universities will speak less to public servants who can allow or not allow something, and at the same time, these requirements of license and accreditation, they don't reduce requirements. The system will be more demanded to quality. National Quality Agency will give licenses special councils on protection, and we will have special councils on dissertations, and one time, and many on many dissertations because there are special councils to listen to dissertations, and such special councils of professionals who specialize on that issue of the dissertation which is made public. So National Quality Agency, that is a principal innovation in our system. Also, it's very important that the new law will reduce the burden for teachers, and now it's 900 hours a year, but it's very often they have to work more than 600 hours per year. So they will have less, they will work less, and they will work more on scientific research. And the students will have more hours for self-development, for independent work, and there will be new criteria of assessing quality of knowledge. There are many other innovations in this law. We introduced the third cycle of education in Ukraine. We had bachelor's cycle level and master's degree level, and now we'll introduce the third one as a PhD. And on the base of graduate schools, we will have PhD programs. That is also these are new requirements to quality, and on the third cycle of education, there will be integration of education and science. It's very important for us. We can speak also about, in the context of financial autonomy, that universities will have a right to open accounts in banks, and to have the special funds which are now in the treasury. It's very important instrument of development of our universities. That's why, if to be brief, I outlined main important features, innovative features of our law on higher education, and I would like to underline once again that when we passed this law, we had that's a great example of consensus of our government and our people. When in our times when there are not many good news, I believe that this news is extremely important for our society. If you have questions, I will be happy to answer. Thank you. What about diplomas? To enter a university abroad, we don't need to pass a new law on higher education, because it's important to have like addition for your diploma, and it should have not only marks, but it should be translated to English, and there should be names of subjects and number of hours, and that will be enough. When students enter Western universities to continue their education, they will be assessed individually. That's why this law does not help to those who graduate bachelor programs, and they will be assessed individually. A council of Maidan, new programs, everything you're saying, that's a necessary thing. It's a progressive, but there are many students, talented students who have no money to rent apartments in Kiev, and they don't receive dormitories. They cannot get dormitories. That's a big problem. You didn't speak about this at all. And a former minister, Tabashnik, even in downtown, he has some buildings which are empty. Just take them. By the way, he captured them with the help of radars and take them back to the public, make them public again, and maybe your students would have. Maybe we need to start with this. Thank you. The topic of my briefing is the new law on higher education. It doesn't say anything about dormitories. But if we speak about that, until this year, in fact, in Kiev, all students could be accommodated in dormitories. So there was no sharp problems with dormitories. So they could not live in one university. They could negotiate with other universities because during last years, more people from Kiev entered universities, and we could look at the trends. But there was no big problem with dormitories. It's not the issue of the law on higher education. This year, there will be a lot of problems with the dormitories because there are a lot of people who enter Kiev universities from Crimea, from Donbass, and there will be a lot of students from Donbass and Kiev universities, and so there will be problems, and we have to solve them. The Ministry of Education will help to universities to accommodate students if they face such difficulties, and will help and regulate the process. During recent years, why it became easier with dormitories, because a lot of families were trying to rent apartments for their children, but this is not an issue mentioned in the new law on education. I apologize, but if you believe that there is no such a problem, we can give you a list. We can give you evidence that this is a big problem. Even very talented, we are ready to send you a list. Of course, if there is a problem, we'll try to help you. But I told you about the trend. I told you about the trends. Parents were trying to rent apartments for their children. Candidate of Economic Donetsk National University. According to the new law, me as a candidate of science will be a PhD if I have a credential from work. What is different? Second question, for people with who have a master's degree abroad, if they want to come for the recognition of the diploma in Ukraine, what is needed? When we developed this law, we worked with the principle of a consensus, and we wanted everyone to agree. And unfortunately, because my position was more radical, we have a Doctor of Sciences level. The motivation of our colleagues was they gave examples of Poland and Germany. I believed that we should have a model like a PhD, and there should be a ceiling. That's the highest point. And then, who is more influential scientist in his field is the one who is assessed by publications, who runs research and who is known. If you're a candidate of science, is at present, by the way, will eliminate that level, but as a level of a specialist, and in such a case, there shouldn't be a discrimination. So you automatically have the level of a PhD. There's no problem with this. But how will we train PhDs? We'd like to get rid of the Soviet system of graduate schools when, in fact, you passed that road. You had to communicate with only with your tutor or head professor. Maybe you had some seminars, but structural. a PhD program, it means that you have to study intensively for 4 years, and in addition, you work with this dissertation, and the number of your subjects is getting less, and you work more on your dissertation. So the key issue, what will be the system of training? Because these are people of highest training. As to nostrification, it will be simplified, because if you wanted to have, if you have a PhD from the West and you would like to work in Ukraine, now for them to hire you, for you to hold a position that university will be this in the council, professors council takes a decision. But if you come and if you work to work in your field and you want you need just a diploma, the system will be more difficult, and it is interesting and for you to receive a diploma you need to go through the procedure of nostrification. But a university decide whom to hire and which diploma to recognize or not. And that's part of the autonomy. Once again, the idea of autonomy, we understand what we have too many universities. And there was no recommendations were given. One more question. That competition or quality, national quality agency, what will be the indicators? Because in the state, there's nothing done in terms of quality, and we have a project on that to who will hire those people who graduate, who will hire students who graduate. Maybe that agency will work on that issue. What you told about industries, we believe that quota principle of that quality agency, it will change relations between higher education and our industry or national economy. Because employers, they will be in that representative employers, so they will be in that agency, and they should not be in parallel dimensions, but they should cooperate, and they should overlap and have a very when that the Ministry of Education is thinks whether we should university should train professionals like that, but employees could believe that no, this is rubbish, and we have to train different. So they should cooperate, and that will be a group of 15 people. They will have to develop policies how that will happen. That's why, from that point of view, we believe that a relation between higher education and employers or business or national industry, they will change for better. As to quality assessment, here the key issue is what the law doesn't say. We should prepare sub-laws for many sub-laws for this law. How that a quality agency will be formed. You can lobby someone under our conditions, with our traditions, and that some person can represent someone, but could not, will not play the necessary role. So we will prepare sub-laws for people to be elected to that quality agency who are representative. They should be professional, independent. Reputation, so is professional reputation is very important here, and there must be no corruption, because people they will be public, people they will be elected, they will will depend on that on their professional independence. I have to tell you that this law is very good, but it will work only if it is supported by academic community. So universities now have a chance to be independent, to become autonomous, but autonomy independence is not presented. One thing is the law, the other one is practice or application of a law. There could be a good law that doesn't work. For that law to work, we should involve academic communities, and everybody should be active. Anybody who is related to universities, because there are different interests among professors and students, or administration and students. But in this case, we hope that there will be common interest for administration, professors, and staff and students. So this professional activity of academic society is very important, because now universities should become autonomous using this law, and their quality should grow. I believe that the number of our universities will reduce, but the quality will grow. But it cannot be done in a commanding style. Thank you. Can you tell us when those PhD programs will start? That is one of the most complicated issues, because I still teach in Kiev Mogil Academy, and we have the first doctor's school, PhD, which was opened in 2009. It includes the first 8 structured PhD programs. Go to the website, and it was very difficult to initiate that, because it was not supported by the state, not recognized by the state, not financed, and we so we wanted them to read their dissertations abroad, and because our state did not recognize them, it's not easy. We had a lot of events, a lot of round tables and conferences, and we published and we called our colleagues to open to such programs. It's not easy. Now, the law gives a legal ground for that, but to start, it's very difficult to start a PhD programs. That's a big challenge for our universities, for them to be able to initiate such programs that would make the students competitive. One of my students, who's a professor now in our university, when she read her dissertation, that was during one convention. But there is a Barcelona University, that's a joint event, and she had 4 publication, a peer-reviewed journalist. That's very serious achievement. And to educate such students, you have to invest a lot of work into that. I want to say that even at present, as our graduate schools are working, a lot depends on universities and their managers, how they organize that. Everything depends on the initiative, but we say that we need to develop a new system of training the highest level of staff. We'll invite universities to develop recommendations, and such programs, I believe, will be opened in many universities. That one of the criteria. University is and a university has research programs. That makes it different from not university. There are a lot of institutions who are called universities, but they have no research activity. Once I had a briefing here, and we spoke about that our ministry refused to approve textbooks for universities. I was asked who should be responsible for quality. A university, and there is academic council if they approve bad books. Then there is a question. There's a question to the university what kind of a university it is. So it's a big challenge. And it's there should be quite a different preparation, training. Our system is not, or training is not ideal in universities, but we have very good students. We discussed that phenomenon. We have very good potential because people understand that they don't help themselves and nobody will help them. Very often good students that they know and know something they were not taught in universities. So that's why I believe that people who joined the graduate school and if they develop, they have a chance to become leading scientists. And also there is a very important moment here. As to science, I wanted to say, I will come to that later to that issue. One question. How is it in Ukraine as to brainwash and what you do in that sense? I want to tell that that term, brain drain, it's a British term. That is a phenomenon. They noticed after World War II that the good students of the programs went somewhere else to study, for example, in the U.S. And that's when they had brain drain. And the way the situation in Ukraine, it's bad because people leave because they don't find something here of the same quality like in Western universities. So we should develop our economy, our universities, and for people to get good education and to earn well in Ukraine. That's a challenge and a problem, because if we don't run reforms, then people leave. And if they leave, stay in the West, it means that Ukraine invests in Western countries. On the other hand, it's a problem. On the other hand, if we run reforms, if we want changes, if we build our future on our own, we should support, we should help as many. We support the idea that students and professors should be trained and work and study in Western universities. There is some statistics. Not all stay there. And that exchange of thinking people, it happens all over the world. You cannot stop someone to move from one country to the other. We should not be afraid of that. We should create such a situation in our higher education that our professors and our students compare themselves and the universities with the best but not the worst standards and examples. So we should face changes. One of those moments which is not mentioned, that is standard of English, because English, that is a big instrument which allows you to develop and to be competitive. And learning English for students and professors, so better knowledge of English in our academic community. We should look at that as a huge national project. We don't have money for such projects in Ukraine. There are all post-Soviet countries had such projects, and where they did not study English, but they had Russian. But that is, I speak about our neighbors. We lost somewhere. But our ministry, we are working with donors and with Americans, the UK and Canadians, and we'll introduce general projects, national project of English, and not massive, but universities that will open PG programs. They will have a chance of free English course, and written academic language, presentations, etc. There will be free courses, and our donors will pay for that. Together with our donors and our partners, we develop standards and ways how to help to our high school as to English resources, etc. So we do that. We cooperate together with donors because today, for such general projects, English, we don't have resources for that. But in future, we'll have such resources. No question? If no question, thank you very much. Thank you. Good luck.